All right, gang, I am off to the cinema to go check out Ang Lee's Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. I'd hate to hear about his post-game walk.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
All kidding aside, I have the utmost respect for Ang Lee as a filmmaker. I think there is no other director working in contemporary cinema that has as much rich variety of films as Ang Lee. I mean, just look at his resume. There is not one film that is alike the other. He is unafraid of genre and unafraid of any inherent challenge that genre brings up. Yeah, HD DVD.
Wow!
Dear God. Oh my God! Oh my God! Compellingly, there's been a lot of talk about Ang Lee shooting this film not just in 3D and not just with a high frame rate, but with a ridiculously high frame rate. I mean, it's a frame rate that has literally almost gone to plaid.
They've gone to plaid.
Now, I've experienced a few films shot at 48 frames per second, which is double the normal 24 frames per second standard that's been in Hollywood basically since the beginning of movies. And those were the Hobbit films, and I really did not like the aesthetic results because it made everything look like it was shot for a daytime soap opera. I think a lot of you have probably heard the daytime soap opera effect.
And you're doing this because
I love you so much.
I can't even begin to think of what a film that's shot at well over 100 frames per second, which Lee did, is going to look like.
What the hell was that?
And unfortunately, I'm not going to get an opportunity to see this high frame rate presentation because our local cinema is not giving us an option to see it.
Damn you!
So I'm partially disappointed because I really was compelled to see how this looks. But another part of me is not really disappointed in the slightest because, quite frankly, after I saw the Hobbit films, I knew exactly what I felt like saying to all filmmakers who wanted to use 48 frames per second going forward.
You shall not pass!
But you know, regardless of presentation standard, I'm off to the cinema to go check this out, and I'll be back with a review. Spoiler alert. It is a long walk. Holy crap, is it a long walk. It's highly fitting that this movie has the word long in its title because it was an endurance test to sit through. This and that really depresses me to say that because I am such a huge fan of Ang Lee's work as a whole. And the fact that I just felt completely indifferent when I left the screening and felt like I kind of wasted nearly 2 hours of my time. Yeah.
I did what I had to do.
It's about this young soldier, William Lynn, Billy Lynn, who's played by Joe Alwyn. I think that's his name. He's a new actor. He's making his feature film debut. I apologize if I got his name incorrect. Plays this young soldier from Texas, really troubled upbringing in youth, and he enlists in the military. He serves in Iraq with a particular platoon, that is a tongue twister, that's under the leadership of two guys, one played by Vin Diesel and the other played by Garrett Hedlund, rather well, I would actually say. One of the men gets killed And it appears that Billy Lynn was the man who really threw himself into the lion's den of danger to try to save his life.
These men are fighters. Let your training guide you.
Is this it?
It's going down. What? Let's go!
News of this spreads like wildfire through the media, and they become overnight sensations and heroes, especially Billy Lynn.
First time in my life, I feel close to something bigger than myself.
So they return back home to go on this mini publicity tour, and they are set to appear at the halftime show of this fictitious professional football team. One really peculiar thing about this movie is I'm not sure how they were unable to get the rights to the National Football League, especially after a film like Concussion came out last year, which was very hard on the NFL, was able to secure rights. But that is beside the point of this. This film is littered with a lot of problems that do not involve not being able to use NFL licensed teams in it. So needless to say, the whole film is about Billy Lynn and Bravo Company appearing at this halftime show, this really garish, sensationalistic halftime show. That's meant to superficially honor these guys and their fallen comrade. And the rest of the film is kind of told in multiple flashbacks. So you get to see who Billy Lynn is, kind of where he came from, and the series of events that brought him to that point where he's deemed as a hero. And of course, the media only gets half the picture, and it's slowly revealed that there's a lot more to this story than sort of meets the eye.
You know things most of the rest of us will never know. That's gotta weigh heavy on a young man's shoulders.
I did like Alwyn's performance. He kind of sort of reminded me of like a really young Matt Damon at the beginning of his career. He's sort of very soft-spoken, but he's very sincere, and he gives a very poignant performance of emotional conviction. I thought he was very genuine in the film.
Billy, what if you don't go?
I have to, Kat. I made a commitment.
Vin Diesel does not appear in the film very much, but he has a few noteworthy scenes that I really liked.
What do we owe the pleasure of your enlistment, Private Lynn?
Make it about something bigger than yourself.
The film has an incredible cast. It also has Kristen Stewart, who plays Billy Lynn's damaged goods sister. I've been hard on Kristen Stewart a lot in the past. Sometimes I think she kind of breathes a little too heavily for her own good in many of her performances. But I thought she brought an authenticity to her part. Steve Martin, who's normally known for comedic roles, plays the sort of slimy, duplicitous owner of the professional football team that wants to buy the rights to the soldiers' story to make it into a feature film. That's just one of the many subplots that are trying to vie for attention in Billy Lynn.
Your story, Billy, no longer belongs to you.
The performances are really decent. The real problem with Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk is it lacks focus. I mean, it's trying to tell way too many stories for its own good, and I think some subplots are vying for attention over the other, and it really becomes hard to really hone in my interest or my rooting interest in any one over the other. So it's sort of rickshaws from subplot to subplot and from flashback to flashback without any real rhyme or reason at times. Some of the segues from the present to the past work. Some of them don't really work so well. There's also the notion too that the movie seems, I hate to use the word preachy, but it does feel like it's kind of sermonizing to us at times, and very awkwardly so.
We just open the door a crack. The light comes pouring in.
There are moments between characters that don't feel dramatically raw or real. They feel like the product of a screenwriter that's trying to pontificate a message at viewers, and that really created this imbalance in the film. It's really trying to be a very emotionally impactful film that'll strike a chord with viewers, but the way the film is structured and the way the dialogue exchanges are rendered, it's almost kind of a little too theatrical and showy for its own good at times. You know, Ang Lee, if anything, he is a masterful filmmaker from a technical perspective. I'm still trying to figure out why he thought a film like this would benefit from being shot in 3D, or one that would benefit from this insanely high frame rate that borders on plaid. It's such a low-key film in so many ways. I'm really having difficulty trying to figure out why he thought this material would somehow lend itself to this pushing the envelope shooting style. I don't get it. And the film as a whole just feels really undisciplined. The pacing of this film is so bloody slow. I mean, I think a good gauge as to whether a film is really working for you or not is how many times you're literally checking your watch, and not a good sign. You know, the film is only like less than 2 hours, but it felt like 3.5 or 4. It's really sluggish and it's really monotonous. You know what's ultimately disappointing about this film is, despite the fact that Billy Lynn, his name is actually in the title of this film, he remains this obscure cipher throughout the story. I'm not really sure what Lee and company are actually trying to say. Are they trying to make a film that deals with the really powerful bond between these soldiers and how that's a real unbreakable bond? Is it trying to be an expose as to how Hollywood and the media sort of uses soldiers and their stories for the purposes of sensationalizing them to make a quick buck in the industry? Is it trying to be a film that deals with soldiers who are struggling big time with post-traumatic stress? There's so many avenues that Ang Lee wants to go down in this film, and to me it seems like it's cherry picking ideas from multiple other better films with similar themes, and somehow it just doesn't homogenize them all together to create a really good whole.
It's sort of weird being honored for the worst day of your life.
This is a lesser film from Ang Lee, I gotta say. Considering the filmmaker's fine work, he has absolutely nothing to prove at this stage in his career as a filmmaker. He's one of the all-time greats. But I found Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk to be a slog to sit through, and I don't think it had anything profoundly different to say about its subject matter that, again, other better films in the past haven't already said. So there you go, there's my review of Billy Lynn's awfully long, holy crap is it a long walk, Halftime Walk. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the film. Also, if you are one of the very few people in North America that saw this film in a high frame rate presentation, let me know what you thought of that in the comments.
What the hell was that?
And thank you very much for watching. If you could subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. And don't forget to like and share this video if you don't mind as well. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you at the movies.